Monkeys and gentle monkeys, welcome to Black Myth Wukong drama. The drama is dumb, which is why I'm here for it, and I am excited for it because there are no pedophiles in this drama, which is a huge W as far as modern drama standards go. That's right, that's the intro for this video, whether you like it or not. So, this dude, Legendary Drops, just made a video. Black Myth Wukong is a threat. And I think I know what he's referring to. It's an actual threat to modern gaming in the West because A, super successful. Its first day that it came out literally broke records for the most played game of all time. B, the woke agenda has been trying to destroy it. Now, I don't believe in woke agendas. In fact, I don't believe in any agendas. I am a man that is pure chaotic neutral. I believe in freedom, and that's about it. So it's pretty nice to see the actual people on Twitter, the Twitter world, that are dropping all the freaking goddamn stupid articles talking about Black Myth Wukong, how it doesn't have enough female representation and it doesn't have enough diversity and blah, 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 blah. When I saw a game journalist say that it's a great game, brilliant game, most exciting game I've ever played, but bad diversity, and then they gave it a 6 out of 10, I literally could not stop laughing. We are witnessing the end of modern culture, and it's beautiful. So, Mr. Legendary Drops says Black Myth Wukong is a threat, and I am so happy to hear that. Now, before we start, I have a question for Legendary Drops here. Legendary Drops, what is your least favorite race?
Black Myth.
Whoa! Whoa! Legendary Drops! You're just gonna, whoa! Okay, that was a joke. Okay, don't cancel Legendary Drops. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. But anyway, I can't stop. And I wonder why they canceled me on Twitter. I should not be allowed to have a sense of humor. We keep going.
Black Myth Wukong is one of the most anticipated games of this year. If you're anything like me, you're looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm a big Souls fan to begin with, so.
Dude, I hate when people say, and this is nothing personal, Legendary Drops. I hate when everyone's like, oh my god, it's a fighting game. It's just like Dark Souls. That is not a real thing.
Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on it. But
right.
With that said, it's also been a game that's had a lot of hit pieces ran on it ever since the game's reveal.
I love me some good controversy. You know why? Because controversy only exists within a certain area. This is not a controversy that any normal human being will enjoy, okay? No one cares about this controversy. Not a single consumer playing this game gives a shit about this controversy. Your controversy works as advertising. You are giving this the Hogwarts Legacy freaking lube up to give it much, much more respect and let more people know that it exists. Oh, God. All right, let's go.
Just recently, I ended up reading an article from The Guardian where they're going in and talking and parroting the same points that I've seen many other journalists say trying to paint the game in a bad picture.
Oh, they keep trying so hard and they're failing so miserably. Oh, I love it. I love the failure of the freaking journalists. God, see, on my tier list of my human rights tier list, I have to stop making this joke. I'm gonna actually get fucking railed for this shit on Twitter. And then I realized I don't care because Twitter isn't real. So on my human rights tier list, right below politicians, which are in C tier, by the way, you have journalists in D tier. Okay, that's a joke. We keep going. God, I'm getting fucking annihilated out here. God, not allowed to have a sense of humor today.
Specifically trying to send the message that, hey, yeah, it looks like a good game, but the developer doesn't say very nice things, and we probably shouldn't support them.
But is it a good game, though? That's your job, journalists! You're supposed to tell us if the game is good. You're not telling me if I want to get into a relationship and have sloppy toppy with the people that made the game. Not your job, okay? You could write a completely separate hit piece on why the people making Black Myth Wukong are bad people. If you want to do that, your prerogative. But don't let that bleed into the game review. Okay? Get out of here. H.P. Lovecraft wrote some of the greatest mythos of all time. H.P. Lovecraft lore is S tier in the lore tier list, okay? H.P. Lovecraft, the guy, total asshole, all right? Not a contradiction.
So today what I want to do is I want to talk about the media's obsession with Black Myth Wukong, but more than anything, I want to talk about why they're obsessed.
All right, let's go, baby.
If you haven't heard, Black Myth Wukong is blowing up before its release.
Yeah.
The game is already the most...
And during its release. It just released, and people are going crazy. I, in fact, just did a whole ass lore dive on Sun Wukong to get ready for this controversy. My butt is puckered, and I am ready to annoy journalists again. God! The journalists are like, oh no, the two-dimensional anime-looking fucker is talking about us again.
Most wishlisted game on Steam, and just the other day, the benchmark tool brought in over 85,000 players at its peak. An optimization testing tool brought in more players, 40 times the amount of players as Sony's open beta.
Oh, eating the fruits of rebellion. God! Ironically, in the lore of Sun Wukong, the reason why the Monkey King himself became so powerful and was so infamous was because the celestial divine god people were so scared that he was actually going to be powerful that they kept sending celestial army after celestial army to destroy him. But because Sun Wukong was too strong, too cretinous, and would defeat all of those armies, he would only become more and more legendary. Game journalists, you are literally the bad guys of the Sun Wukong Journey to the West story. You got to feel like poop for this, brothers.
Of Concord. Low blow, I know, but it'll become a little bit more relevant later on. With that said, Black Myth Wukong's developer Game Science likely has a breakout hit on their hands, and this is their debut.
Breakout hit? Bro, this is the biggest game, one of the biggest game releases in history.
Title. But there are those that are out there that want to try and stand in its way. Just a couple weeks ago, Tom Regan of The Guardian wrote an article titled
The Guardian.
Black Myth Wukong, the summer's most exciting and most controversial video game.
God, I love how they do this, the controversial video game. No, South Park is controversial by inherently because it tackles controversial topics. Black Myth Wukong is not controversial unless you are in the specific internet sphere that thinks it's controversial. Not a single person playing this game thinks it's controversial. It's like saying Harry Potter is controversial because J.K. Rowling is a controversial figure. No one cares, okay? None of the people that read Harry Potter care about J.K. Rowling's takes on transgenderism or anything, okay? Literally no one. They want to see Harry Potter and Hermione Granger fighting against snakes or whatever happens in Harry Potter.
This beautiful...
That was a joke. I actually have read Harry Potter multiple times, so that was a joke.
...looking action game is based on Journey to the West, the great Chinese novel, but its own journey to release has hit a bump in the road.
Yeah, ironically, the main bad guy, so... It's crazy to me how fucking obtuse they are. Like, it's crazy to see how obtuse these people are. Guys, let me make something clear. In the lore of Journey to the West, it's a story about Sun Wukong who was filled with pride and arrogance. And because of the constant battles against the celestial forces, Sun Wukong continued to gain more and more layers of immortality. Bro was immortal 5 times over by the time he was even getting close to reaching his peak, okay? He was kidnapped by Death and wound up beating Death up so badly, he then erased his own name from the Book of Death, so Death could never claim him, okay? The only reason why he was able to get there, to that book, was because Death was literally kidnapping him and dragged him to the underworld. Okay? You are literally the bad guys in his story that are propping him up to become an immortal legend, okay? It is wild to me to see this.
Tom writes, after playing Wukong for an hour and a half in a London hotel suite, watched nervously by Game Science employees, I can confirm that, somewhat miraculously, this stunning Chinese mythological twist on Dark Souls delivers on that showy trailer. Marrying fluid-feeling combat and reflex-testing difficulty and the expensive filmic sheen of something like God of War. As I sprint through Wukong's dense jungle, ducking and dodging through a deadly array of flora and fauna, I come face-to-face with everything from gi-wearing toads to nightmarish gigantic-headed infants.
These are the people claiming that there's not enough diversity in Wukong? Not enough diversity in Wukong. Anyway, through its deadly array of flora, fauna, come to face with everything from gi-wearing toads to nightmarish, gigantic-headed infants. Also, no diversity. You are literally playing as a monkey, okay?
Unlike many of its brutally challenging From Software-inspired peers, the difficulty in Wukong feels expertly judged. My simian avatar met a grisly end more times than I care to admit, but I persevered. Eventually, I defeated enough foes to unlock new abilities. Soon, I can perch atop my staff mid-attack, giving me an edge against its murderous mythological monsters.
All right.
I can buzz around the forest as a stealthy cicada, summon flames from my glaive, and eventually topple a snarly, lorry-sized werewolf atop a crumbling temple.
Actual glowing reviews.
We're under great pressure reflects one of Game Science's co-founders, who was introduced only as Ted. Game Science wouldn't give his full name via translator. This is the first time we have worked on a PC and console game, and we are also a new studio. So we really like to think how tolerant the players and the market is towards us. Their excitement encourages us.
Nice.
However, The thinking of Chinese people tends to be, we look at the risks. And therefore, when we're faced with such great encouragement, the best thing we can do is to try our best to satisfy the expectations of the players and communicate with the players in a very honest way.
Okay, that, in my mind, that's a pretty positive review. Journalist went in there with a thumb up his ass, ready to roast this shit, and ended up walking away with glowing reviews. Still gonna give it a 6 out of 10 for some reason, but that's okay.
China has dominated the mobile gaming market. You look at
Honestly, I think China actually gets something that the West doesn't get when it comes to games in general. They purely make games so that the consumers want to pay for those games. That's Genshin Impact, that's Zenless Zone Zero, that's Honkai Star Rail, that's fucking Black Myth Wukong. The entire point of the Chinese gaming market is to make games that will make people want to pay for those games. Whether it's gambling on Genshin or whether it's just buying a $60 title like Wukong. The point is, they actually just want the customer to like it. I know. What an actual insane idea. To make a game for the consumer? That's wild. That's insane. It's almost like they're not pandering to journalists and Twitter hordes and just actually don't give a shit about those people.
At everything that HoYoverse has done, from Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail.
Just list the same shit that I did.
Honkai Impact 3rd. These games have made a lot of money. They have a lot.
Like billions of dollars, lots of money. Like these guys, these games are fucking massive.
A lot of players.
I think they're largely shit. But that's because I'm a lore freak, and they only ended up in like C tier in the lore department.
And what they've done is they've actually paved the way for Chinese developers to be able to reach global markets.
True.
Something that was relatively inaccessible for them in the past. And
honestly, the only reason why they were able to get this far is because the West absolutely blundered its way into absolute failure recently. Like, it's wild to me at how bad gaming has become. I know that everyone says, oh, how bad gaming has become, and you get these big games. But when you look at, like, Western innovations in games, I don't remember the last time there was something like this.
In that,
and I'm not talking about the new God of War, right? That's an old series. Yeah, something new.
I'm actually kind of surprised that we're not seeing more skepticism when it comes to a new studio that hasn't released a game before, that's releasing a AAA game that looks as good as this does, and it's coming from a country that we normally don't see a lot of games come from in the first place. But I think it's great that we are seeing that support, because from my perspective, I just want to see more video games, and the more
man spitting. Ultimately, you want better products. So if America's failing at games and movies and comic books because for some reason they feel like their goal is not just to make the best story or the best game, and other countries are winning, well then America's got to fucking shape up. This isn't some nationalist shit. I just like good stories. I just like good art.
More countries that are out there that are making them, the more diverse ideas and cool games that we can play, and that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate, that's a good example of something fantastic. But let me remind you, Baldur's Gate is part of the D&D lore. It's part of the greater D&D. It's not a new title. I mean, it's a new title, it's a new individual game, but it's not like a whole new thing that was made that took the world by storm.
To be honest, we haven't really even seen that many AAA games come from China in the first place. I think the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is like Rocka Blade Point. That's pretty much about it. But one of the things the developers brought up was that they feel like they're under a lot of pressure, and I don't think people really understand or recognize just how much pressure that they're under.
Sure.
Because keep in mind, they have far more rules and restrictions that they need to follow before they can even try to ship a game outside of
yeah, they are being strangleholded by the Chinese government. Are you kidding me?
Country.
Oh, Lord.
And way more restrictions than Western studios have. That's 100%. For sure. But with that said, you also have, you know, clashes in culture and things like that. And I think what they've chose to do, especially with Black Myth Wukong, is just, well, emulate the success of another game and try to adapt their ideologies or their philosophies of game design into their game. And
that's what Black Myth Wukong is supposed to be. And honestly, that's pretty fucking awesome. And who cares? Because ultimately, despite the fact that, yes, obviously Chinese censorship is going to be fucking insane in its own way, they are still making a game with the goal of pleasing the buyers. Once they've actually complied with all of the different Chinese systems, after that, they just want the consumers to play a good game. They just want the consumers to play a game that they'll like. And that is somehow not the goal anymore in America. And not only that, but it's not the goal of game journalists. You'd think game journalists care about if the game is good, but they don't. They have like this checklist, where they have these blackmailing bastards threatening them in order to make sure that their games are, you know, correct.
Black Myth Wukong kind of represents to me. It's a smart idea. You're going to be able to hook up with a pretty large audience because a lot of people really like Souls games, especially after Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So it's a great idea to be able to reach as many.
Is Black Myth Wukong a Souls game? I was under the impression it wasn't a Souls-like game. I mean, maybe it is. I didn't realize. All right, interesting.
Players as you possibly can. But one of the other difficulties that they're running into is one that's completely unnecessary. And it's the fact that for some odd reason, there are a lot of Western critics that do not want to see this game get any level of success.
100%. They were fucking against this game from day one. They were looking for excuses to fucking review bomb this shit all along. It's become a freaking, what's the word? It's a sausage fest of gaming journalists that all have to decide collectively on what the next hit piece they're going to be making towards different games.
Tom continues with his article saying, I am unfortunately met with very little honest communication when I bring up a report from IGN which related alleged sexist comments from multiple developers at Game Science.
All right, that's not good, all right? I don't like sexist people. That said, why does that have to do with the game?
As well as those in leadership roles. I presented Ted with the opportunity to address those claims of misogynistic posts and whether he feels they represent Game Science's values. Instead, I am shut down with a hasty no comment from their UK PR representative, and then, after a long wait, given a longer statement of no comment via Ted's translator. I am then told...
Wasn't there a whole thing that the sexist comments were a mistranslation too? Wasn't that like a whole big deal?
Game Science's US PR agency will follow up later with a prepared statement, only to be sent the following. Game Science is focused on the demo at this time and will only answer questions related to gameplay.
Oh, the Giga Chad response. God damn. Listen, guys, we understand that you are asking these questions, but we also don't give a fuck about them. We just want to make sure the game is good, okay? Okay? Obviously, sexism and all that's bad, and it should be investigated on its own merit, having nothing to do with this game, right? Bro, the translation looks like a Reddit meme. God damn.
The same thing happened to an IGN reporter at a demo in Los Angeles last month. It is disappointing that Game Science is opting to invite journalists to speak to them and play the game, but refusing to answer their questions. Perhaps there is no...
Because the questions aren't about the game! Are these people brain dead, or are they doing it on purpose? People think they mistranslated on purpose too. I mean, probably. You see the vitriol that they have towards these people, right? They obviously want this game to fail, so why would you ever take them in good faith?
No reassurance to offer. A generous reading of the situation would be that this is an inexperienced studio petrified of saying the wrong thing. Yet, in failing to say anything at all, Game Science is also failing to distance itself and its game from multiple crude, disparaging, and misogynistic comments attributed to its employees and leadership.
Dude, that is such a bad faith way to interpret what they're saying. The reason why they're saying no comment is because they're petrified of saying the wrong thing, and failing to say anything is failing to distance itself from the multiple misogynistic comments that were likely mistranslated, by the way, and all that. Guys, with all due respect, what? Maybe they're not taking comments because they know that there's no reason to engage with these people. I feel like that's a much better response. See, here's the thing. Do you know how many drama videos and drama tweet threads are made about me? I'm not saying in all time. I mean, in the last month, there were dozens of hit piece videos made on me. What, I'm gonna respond to all of them? I don't need to engage with all that shit. First of all, it's not even gonna get me good views. Second of all, like, why would I engage with every person that's trying to start shit with me for no reason? Like, hello? I think it's just based. You should never engage with these people unless engaging with them is in fact your content. There's no reason to. There is literally no reason to engage with these people. I think it's a huge dub.
Journey to the West, of course, is no stranger to the world of video games. From Ninja Theory's 2010 Alex Garland penned and Andy Serkis starring Xbox 360 adaptation Enslaved: Odyssey to the West, to Akira Toriyama's world-conquering Dragon Ball, it's a world of myth and monkeys.
Myth and monkeys, yeah.
That lends itself perfectly to gaming. Black Myth Wukong's stunning visuals, cinematic beauty, and refreshing sense of speed could well make it the best playable adaptation of the fable to date. But the unreserved excitement I would otherwise feel about it is being trampled by the elephant in the room.
Oh my god! Are you kidding me? Cinematic beauty, refreshing sense of speed, best playable adaptation of the fable to date, unreserved excitement. There's an elephant in the room. Yee!
Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I cannot believe that they wrote this. The elephant in the room, huh? I would imagine the elephant in the room is the fact that the report from IGN was found to be heavily mistranslated and
Oh, piece of shit. Yes, yes. Community notes, destroy them. The sexist quotes shown in the article are poorly translated. Accurate translations show the statements of being vulgar, but definitely not sexist. IGN reported on these fallacious, unverified claims as though their fact is yellow journalism. Oh my God.
misrepresented, spreading misinformation about a studio either by the way of IGN's ignorance or their malice.
Not trying to fish for another cease and desist here, but I think it was probably malice. Like, they obviously have a bias against this game, and they thought they would be able to get away with this.
The report that they mention is something that was parroted by almost every other gaming news site. Headlines with this narrative ran wild.
It's great, every single one of them. Black Myth Wukong dev accused of sexist recruitment.
It's the reveal of Black Myth Wukong's trailer a few years ago, making sure that players know, yeah, the game looks cool, but guys, this is a very bad developer. This misrepresentation even led to Game Science's studio allegedly being vandalized by the people that were claiming to do it based on...
It's actually insane. I just typed in Black Myth Wukong news, okay, into Google, okay? Let me just preface this for you, okay? Black Myth Wukong just blew past Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, okay? It is the biggest game of all time, okay? Look at the top news. Marketing team offers content creators, but bans feminist propaganda and talk of COVID. No feminist propaganda. All right, I didn't read this one, but just looking at the title, and you have a bunch of that shit. Black Myth Wukong, the summer's most exciting and controversial game. Bro, what are you doing? Like, how are you like this?
On that news of the studio's
Game Science offices have been vandalized. Game Science makes Black Myth Wukong. The vandalizer is boasting about it on social media. God damn.
quote-unquote sexist culture. Eventually, through social media, readers and critics pointed out the mistranslations. Hell, Asmongold's editor, Clips editor...
Asmongold Clips is one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Asmongold, not so much, but Asmongold Clips, oh, that channel is awesome.
Did a better job of reporting and investigating, showing all of the mistranslations.
Context. IGN published an article trying to smear the company and the devs behind Black Myth Wukong as some sexist freaks because of some of their employees' social media posts.
Yeah.
The article cites one of their artists.
Bro, you know that they're gonna fucking come for me at some point. If I ever work in like the video game industry, I probably won't, to be honest. Much more likely I'll work in like novels and storytelling at some point. But if I ever do, you just know they're gonna pull up some of my random out of context quotes from my Adventure Time reactions, and they're gonna be like, known bigot and sexist Nuxanor, known for saying sex trafficking is not gender equality because women have it done more than men. They're gonna pull out some random shit like that.
Who basically did the still wood meme about this monster. The problem is that this game journalist, either by sheer incompetence or malice, translated these posts in the most uncharitable way possible.
Are you serious? The snake spirit is different from what I imagined, but if I cover the bottom half with my hand, it's still possible to jerk off. Bro, that's just wood. He literally just said wood. Are you joking me? This is just wood. It's posting some random scaly shit on the internet and saying wood. This is like posting a mermaid and saying wood on Twitter. How on earth did this somehow become sexist? My editor in chat just said, remove everything but Nux's choke collar, wood. I'm so glad I hired you.
By sheer incompetence or malice, translated...
That has to be malice. It has to be malice. I can't believe it.
These posts in the most uncharitable way possible. And this is...
I have to see that shit. The G-spots of male and female games are fundamentally different. That is not determined in the game environment, but biological conditions. You are holding a heavy machine gun shooting at governments in your dreams. What the ladies are dreaming about are bags that make their friends jealous. What?
Uncharitable way possible. And this is nothing compared to the most egregious mistranslation. After one of the game company founders posted this in 2020.
I want to expand my circle and hire more people. Get licked until I can't get an erection.
Apologizing for the lackluster trailer of Black
I mean, yeah, that's a weird thing to say, but it's not sexist.
Myth Wukong just released. Now, how on earth...
It's like me saying I get lorgasms when I see good game lore.
Do you get?
I want to expand my circle and hire more people. Get licked until I can't get an erection.
In reality, the actual translation completely changes the meaning of what he was saying.
Oh,
Not satisfied, I went back checking if anyone called this out when it completely changes the meaning of what he was...
Want to expand the circle of recruiting a few more people, but got licked to the point of being unable to get an erection. The phrase "this" is an idiom in the Chinese language, as a colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery or sycophancy has an overwhelming and paralyzing effect on someone. The use of such metaphors can be found in informal speech or on social media. You goddamn pieces of shit. This is an expression. This is a literal expression. And when I said, oh, go fuck a duck, I didn't literally mean have sex with a bird. Like, what is wrong with you? When I said 2 ways to skin a cat, I didn't mean actually engage in animal abuse. But yeah, if you translate it, it's gonna look bad.
Was saying. Not satisfied, I went back checking if anyone called this out when it happened, and they did.
And ultimately, this all led to the original
Based Asmongold clips.
writer of the IGN report giving a backhanded non-apology, avoiding the conversation of mistranslation, still perpetuating the lie, and upset over Game Science's lack of response, and that the game with a Monkey King and a bunch of anthropomorphic characters doesn't have enough femme-coded characters.
There's not enough diversity in this game about monkeys and giant frogs. Damn, that's crazy. Wild. And then, after you tried it, this is actual libel, right? This is literally slanderous libel, what he just did, by mistranslating it that way and framing it as sexism, right? And you're not even gonna apologize for that, ever? You're not even gonna acknowledge that it was a malicious mistranslation? You're just gonna say, well, they're still not responding to us when we criticize them. Why should they engage with you? You bad faith, useless human. You think that them engaging with you is gonna placate you? Engaging with trolls doesn't actually make the trolls stop. But thank you. Thank you for diverting a huge fan base to this game now because of your absolute stupidity. I am buying this game, and I wouldn't have if not for the journalists.
I am beyond myself. The gall to come forward and say something like, maybe they don't want to say anything because they're afraid to say the wrong thing. What exactly is the wrong thing? Because apparently—
Too many monkeys! Too many monkeys!
You already think they said it to begin with, even though it was all mistranslated and misrepresented in the first place. Sure, they may have said some crude things, but you don't understand their culture or the intricacies of their language and how—
They literally got an idiom wrong. You don't need to go any further than that. They literally mistranslated a common idiom to make it sound sexist. Okay? The end.
They use colloquialisms and things like that, so—
When they said something cringe and I said, fuck me, I wasn't literally spreading my legs and asking them to have sex with me.
Or just applying what you believe onto what they are saying.
Oh, did you say kiss my ass? That's pretty sexist. I'm not gonna lie. You're telling a woman probably to kiss your ass? Wow, dude.
I'm appalled. It's just—
It's not just disgusting, it's also vile. It's not just disgusting and vile, it's also literally going mask off. Like, the world sees. The world can actually and directly see this shit. It's called a rim job, you bigot. Oh, true. That's what it would be translated as. If I say kiss my ass, it'll be translated into gaming journalists gobbledygook as give me a rim job.
It's ridiculous is what it is. I'm shocked. I don't even really know how to respond to something like this.
See, that's the thing. Don't respond. You make fun of them. You humiliate them and mock them like I do. Chaotic Neutral Nuxanor here. Definitely subscribe for mocking more idiots on the timeline. But that's what I do, okay? It's pathetic, and the actual target of these campaigns should not engage. That's my opinion. That's why I, in general, the more you engage with trolls and drama, the more drama and trolls are gonna end up being created. So ignore them. Let them fucking run their course so other people from the outside can look at it and humiliate them, and they will continue to be humiliated and give you more attention. Oh my God.
I think that Western critics and game journalists, not all of them, but some of them, view these Chinese-made games and games made in some other countries
as a threat.
Oh,
yeah, baby! That's where we're going. See, I believe in this. I like this idea a lot because I think threats are great. Because believe it or not, competition does in fact breed progress. Progress is bred from competition. And if China is competing in the gaming market on such a large scale that their games are actually crushing Western games, which they are, ladies and gentlemen, maybe it'll actually make Western game companies change their values in regards to what they want to actually do with their gaming. Ultimately, because of this competition, better games are going to end up being made. that's a W. So, basically, fuck you, game journalists. Your plan has backfired immensely.
Because these are studios that will not fall in line with whatever their narrative is.
True.
Even if they are in the wrong.
True.
Because there are times, and there have been times in the past, where the media was wrong about something, but still wanted and still pressured the studios to do something and say something that otherwise went against it.
Oh, 100%. Dude, when I do something wrong, for example, the pressure of doing an apology exactly in the way that everyone feels like I need to do an apology, and no matter what you do, it's not going to be enough. Oh, you didn't post it at this time. Oh, it wasn't in its own video. Oh, it wasn't on this channel. You only mentioned it there. You didn't say these words, those words. Guys, I'm going to do what I think is right, okay? And I'm just doing it because I think it's right, not because of pressure. That said, if you don't like me because you don't think what I think is right, you can leave. And I think it's an important concept to mention. I have gotten far enough in my career to recognize the fact that I actually, believe it or not, don't give a single fuck about people. It sounded so wrong. But I mean about the nameless Twitter hordes and all that.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do now. Still running with the exact same narrative, even though it's already been disproven. What is the point of that? Because now what they want is that even though it's been disproven, well, we still want you to tell us that you like women. Yeah,
it's insane. They mistranslate it, and they use it as an excuse to literally destroy them. And this happens to me, too, by the way. All right, I'm not Black Myth Wukong, all right? I never had this tumultuous horde of fucking articles coming after me and shit like that. But I have done things where I said something, and it was taken out of context to be something different. And then they attack me because of the out-of-context version of it. I still don't respond because I don't really care. If anyone actually cared, they would watch the original and see that I am, in fact, correct. I don't need to disprove every time someone lies about me, and I don't owe anyone anything just because they called me out. They demanded a response. And I think that that is definitely a healthier mindset to have for me personally, and it's a much healthier mindset, I think, for every single, like, under fire game company ever. See, if they actually were engaged in awful shit, they deserve to get shit for it. But if they didn't, then why do they owe you some sort of response?
What are you doing? What is the point of this? And even more so when you're putting out an article talking about the overall feeling of the game, how much you enjoyed the game, and then you have to put something like that in there? Like, we don't know what you're trying to do.
We know what you're trying to do. You're trying to flame someone because for whatever reason, you have a bias against them. Nakoom, thanks for the sub.
Trying to spin a narrative around this game to make it feel like, ah, man, you should probably feel bad about playing this game, guys.
Yeah.
You should feel bad about it. They're bad people over there. They say mean things on the internet. They say crude things on the internet.
It depends on the allegation. Exactly. That's why you should follow your moral compass. I don't think you should apologize if you feel like you did nothing wrong, but you're just apologizing to appease the masses. Fuck that. Don't do that shit. You will forever become a slave to the masses if you do that. If you do something wrong, and you think you did something wrong, that's when you should apologize.
Internet. How dare they? I think the worst thing possible out of all the things that they said was there was an image of like a snake woman, like a lady that was like, her head was a regular person, but her body was like a snake. It was
wood, and everyone on the internet said wood.
Some like horror.
Because they watched Monster Musume
creature, and they were like, still wood. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's sexism. Blatant sexism right there. Remember when Bao, the VTuber, said wood in regards to Blythe, the Death Wolf? In my opinion, that was partaking in sexism, okay? Would she say wood to a female Death Wolf? I don't know! Dude, what the fuck is wrong with all these people? Also, Bao probably would.
What, like they're not allowed to be human and take part in meme culture? Are you serious? What is this?
Oh, did you make a meme? Canceled. Bro, here, let me see if I can fucking find this shit on Twitter. This is one of my favorite cancellations of all time. All right, I'm starting to get a lot of really good ones now. I don't know if I'm pissing off the wrong people or something. Not gonna lie, I feel like I'm pissing off the wrong people because I'm getting funnier and funnier cancellations these days. Here, let me see if I can find this. Dude, it's so hard to keep track because there's so many videos that cancel me. Oh, so this is a tweet alleging that I'm a predator. All right, so I don't think Nux is a predator, and then it says, oh yeah, and this is the proof that I'm a predator. See, I like this one. All right, you ready? You ready? We could appreciate the gender equality here. Men and women should both be sex trafficked equally, but in society, in the world we live in, somehow women get the privilege. I mean, the classic gender equality meme. Have you watched Konosuba? This has 4.4 million views and 35,000 likes. This is just one tweet calling me a predator with all 12 seconds of proof. Guys, that's crazy. That's just one tweet. There's billions of them on that same 12-second clip, by the way. Oh my God. The gender equality meme. Oh, did you make the gender equality meme that Konosuba has been doing for the last 10 years? Oh shit, he's a predator.
Like, this, like, thought policing and... I don't know, man. Like, I'm so happy that their position was, we're working on the demo right now, and that's the only thing that we want to talk about. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that actually matters.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. God damn. Keep your shit out of the game. Your job, make game. Anything that's not directly make game, not your job. Stop it. Stop it. It's the same with the Hollywood actors. All of them taking different political stances. Like, what are you doing? Make a good movie. Guys!
The game matters. What they do outside of that has no impact whatsoever on what consumers actually care about in the first place. Some of these some of these journalists and...
Journalists. D-tier human rights, by the way.
Games media heads...
Everything on the tier list does have human rights. I want to be clear, okay? Just D-tier human rights.
Why they're losing subscribers, want to know why they're losing readers. Well, it's probably because of the fact you keep putting things in your articles and in...
Because journalism is dead, and random fucking anime boy over here makes a lot more money than they do. Oh, God. Oh, God. Listen, flexing is not nice. I don't like seeing people flex. Unless they are specifically insulting someone pathetic. Then flexing is allowed. All right? That's the little caveat on top.
These discussions that don't belong there in the first place. I originally went to go and read that article because it was talking about their first impressions, and I was just trying to gather a bunch of people's first impressions on the game. And then all of a
That's true! You want to know if you want to play a good game, okay? Because the world is bleak, okay? This world, bleak, all right? So, in a bleak world, you want an escapist fantasy, like, I don't know, Sun Wukong, one of the most legendary stories of Chinese folklore from the 16th century that's inspired millions of people over the course of the last 500 years, okay? The inspiration for Dragon Ball. It's a game similar to Dark Souls or in some way that you could lose yourself in the world, right? That's what gaming is supposed to be, all right? So when I want to know if I should spend my money and time to play this game, why am I opening up this fucking article that's teaching me about sexism in the workplace and someone that said would about a mistranslation on a snake woman? Gaming journalism has lost all integrity. And the irony is I didn't think it had integrity to begin with. It's impressive these journalists can walk straight without spines.
All of a sudden you want to go off on this tangent on something that was already disproven in the first place? What are we doing? What is this? You know, this isn't the first time we've seen this. The wizard game. Yeah, that's right.
Hogwarts wizard game. Yeah, well, ironically, do you know how successful Hogwarts Legacy was purely because of the hate brigades?
Hogwarts Legacy. Game critics and journalists dogpiled this game as hard as they could. Wired.com gave it a 1 out of 10, not because of...
And they absolutely failed.
...the gameplay, not because of the aesthetics, but because of the fact that J.K. Rowling had something to do with it, even though they're just the creator of the source material and actually had nothing to do with the actual creation of the video game, but that didn't matter. Meanwhile, a slew of other reviewers boycotted even reviewing the game in the first place. Some magazines didn't even post reviews whatsoever.
People are such losers. These people are such fucking losers.
And many of those that did actually review it still made sure to drop a little piece of their mind about J.K. Rowling in the reviews.
Sure.
What are the chances that we see the same thing with Black Myth Wukong? Is it going to suffer the same fate? Regardless of how many people...
Yes! Because it was massively successful! These people are all morons. I think they're all idiots. The Hogwarts Legacy thing, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes to the idea that, the random crazy mob that attacks people based on this shit are not good faith at all. Will
try to derail Hogwarts.
Like, if you don't want to play any game, if you don't want to play Black Myth Wukong because you don't want to support people that are sexist because of mistranslations, you know what I would say to that? Okay, and that's it. But why are you harassing people?
Legacy, it ended up being the first title in 15 years to beat Call of Duty.
Oh, get fucked. It's the Streisand effect every single time.
Sales, selling 23 million copies in 2023, proving that social issues have no impact whatsoever on what games players want to play and what they want to buy.
True.
Hell, back when
social issues, in fact, just act as very positive advertising every time. If I make a game, I have to remember to have one extremely transphobic character in the game, just so I can get all the free advertisement from the gaming journalists. Just a very wholesome game, very inclusive, everyone's nice. One character, massive transphobe. Just to get the freaking Twitter likes. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Activision Blizzard went through their major controversy. The players that were leaving the game weren't leaving because of what happened at the company. They were quitting because the game sucked. And as soon as they came out with a new expansion, the vast majority of the players returned to the game. I think that there are those in media today that are afraid of losing influence, afraid of games, studios, and publishers that they can't pressure in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they like this feeling of power. And the irony is, they have no power. You see, to quote the GOAT from Game of Thrones, power resides where people believe it resides. Game journalists only have power as long as people think game journalists have power. The moment people realize that game journalists actually have no power, game journalists lose all their power. So they need to have this crazy united front shit in order to make believe they have some sort of semblance of power, when in fact, they have none. They have no power at all.
If the readers aren't listening and the game makers don't listen either, then their relevance is nothing more than a flickering candle in the wind and they're running out of wick.
What relevance? They have no relevance. The only relevance that they have is that they take up tabloid journalism space on the fucking Google News. That's it. That's all their relevance that they have. No one knows them. No one cares about them. No one cares about their opinions. No one cares about anything about any of them. I think it's important to recognize that fact. Recognize how completely pitiful and useless and small they all are. No one watches Star Wars for Leslie Headland's interpretation of the Force, okay? She just adopted a famous IP.
There is no verifiable proof of game science mistreating their employees. And the only thing that you have to go off of are some jokes that they have made on the internet that any other human would make. Things that you see all of the time. Creating victims out of thin air. What's probably worse for them is the truth that they're coming to realize. Customers only care about the value of the product itself.
Based consumerism, make a good product and people will buy it. The end. The end. Consumerism 101.
And not how it was made or who it was made by. Catering to these niche audiences who actually do buy things based on morals is useless because
no one does that. No one does that. No one doesn't buy things based on morals. I think that that's a myth. And now I know you're gonna say, but you know a lot of people that didn't buy this and that because of morals. I don't know if that's true. I think they didn't buy things because they didn't want to be regarded as someone without morals. I don't even know if they had or didn't have morals. I don't know. Everyone has their own morals. And their morals differ from one person to the other. And no one gives a shit about your morals. So welcome to the world and make something that people want to buy.
Likely they don't even exist in the first place, and even if they did, they probably don't even play video
Apathy's a tragedy and boredom is a crime. Everything and anything all of the time.
Games. This is only another factor that devalues the perspective and the voice of traditional games media and reviewers. And I know that there are good professional journalists and reviewers that are out there, but I wish that they were calling this kind of stuff out, especially the writer from IGN and The Guardian.
You fool. They will never call this out because they're friends. Guys, brother, homie, my guy, brother, the reason why they're not calling each other out is because they only have power if they're in numbers. If they're not in numbers and not in mass and all echoing the same shit, they won't have anything to them. Then you're just a random Twitter user.
Because this is only serving to damage their credibility and the credibility.
What credibility? Everyone knows exactly what they'll say before they say it. They have no credibility. They're incredibly predictable clowns. They'll be deplatformed by their colleagues. I don't know if you remember this story. Black Myth Wukong was blackmailed. They tried to blackmail them for $7 million at some point. And they just said, go ahead, blackmail me. And then they released all the sexist shit. This was like a whole drama that happened about a month ago. I'm pretty sure I made a video on it on Nuxanor. Guys, you have nothing. Nothing on anyone.
Ability of all games media. The lack of independent thought and reasoning within games media today is staggering. It just blows my mind. At this point, I cannot wait for Black Myth Wukong to come out. Not because I can't wait to play it, which obviously I can't wait to play it, but just to see the hot takes. Because you know for a fact, because for how long some of these different...
Yeah, they're not going to be able to swallow their pride. They're still going to come out here and be like, wow, great game. Shame everyone's a sexist.
Articles, journalists, and media sites have been running this
They will fall on their own swords and continue to dig themselves deeper and deeper pits.
Line and running with this narrative. You know they're going to be including that stuff going forward.
Oh yeah, and that is never leaving them. That will be a mark that has stained them for eternity. Guys, I could think of all the different things that I've said over the years that became little dramas in random niche areas of Twitter or whatever that still follow me around. That every time someone will try to cancel me for one thing, everyone will bring up all the other little things that are all individually nothings, but they'll still try to bring them up.
Still trying to ask and find out, yeah, but you still didn't say that you know, it doesn't reflect on your studio or anything like that. What does that even matter?
They don't have to say shit. They owe you nothing.
Like, they haven't made a joke or a crude joke or anything like that in the past. It's so disingenuous. And that's one of the reasons why the vast majority of people have just completely turned off of reading articles or IGN or any of these companies anymore, is because it's so disingenuous. It's so fake. It's so fake. You don't care about any of these things. You're just searching for a headline that you hope will get clicks.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is.
Literally. It's hoping you get clicks and also hoping that your friend journalists aren't going to tear you down for it, which they would. They will literally cannibalize each other.
Everybody can see it. Everybody knows it. Most of this stuff now, you're just making it up out of thin air.
To be honest, it's kind of a Streisand effect for them too. Like, if you think about it, I'm sure more people are reading their articles to make fun of them now than would otherwise. I read some of these Black Myth Wukong articles just purely because they're insulting this game for nothingness reasons, and I literally read them to make fun of them. They are getting hate watchers right now on their sites. That said, they are simply sacrificing all of their credibility for the sake of these hate readers, and that is not how you build an audience.
It's just even worse, because now it's not only that, you know, we didn't find you entertaining, right? So we stopped reading because of that, but now we can't even trust the words that you say because you're just...
Now, bro, you should have just looked right over it. The Lord Nuxanor human rights tier list. You would have seen them in D tier, and you would have known never to trust them.
It's going to say whatever you want to hopefully try to get somebody to look at what you're saying. What's funny is, and I should have brought this up, I might end up making another video about this, but recently I just saw that PC Gamer put out a article talking about putting community notes on YouTube videos.
Dude, every one of my videos and Asmongold's videos, we're all gonna get that shit if that becomes a thing. Little community notes, oh my lord.
And how this games writer was talking about how, you know how much YouTubers like to lie.
The games writer, who no one heard of before and has zero credibility to their name, knows that YouTubers like to lie. See, here's the thing. YouTubers are in B tier on the human rights tier list, okay? Game journalists, D tier. Sorry.
Pot calling the kettle black. Meanwhile, none of these journalists seem to hold each other accountable. You guys ever notice that?
Yeah, no, they're all friends. Literally all friends in this big fucking sausage fest. Each one stroking each other off before moving on to the next guy. They all agree on everything. No one has any interesting opinions. Every game that gets a 7 out of 10 from one of them is going to get 10 more 7 out of 10s. It's not going to get any 5s, and it's not going to get any 9s. It's going to be in a range from 6 to 8. B tier is pretty high for YouTubers. Yeah, but I'm talking about YouTubers specifically that haven't scammed anyone and that aren't predators. All right, because so you see on the human rights tier list, B tier is YouTubers without major scandals. If they're scammers, they fall to C tier, and if they're predators, they fall all the way to E tier. Which, for those of you at home paying attention, that is below game journalists, which are still D tier. So at least they're not predators.
You see YouTubers all the time. They'll go back and forth. Somebody will say something. They'll hold them honest.
Yeah, sure. People make fun of each other literally all the time on YouTube. People hold each other accountable, unless they're the quartering. Because anything in the quarterings world is very black and white, you see. But aside from that, guys...
They'll make videos on it. Obviously, they can farm it. But you don't often see any of these games journalists ever going after one another for anything.
No, because they don't want to promote the other article. Let's say a game... Let me paint this picture for you. Let's say PC Gamer comes out with a review saying that Black Myth Wukong is in fact not sexist and all these other articles are frauds. And then the other article comes back and says that PC Gamer is a fraud. How dare they say that it's not sexist? It is in fact sexist. All the people that are reading the new article will move to PC Gamer and be like, oh shit, it's an actual game journalism that doesn't care about this garbage. They don't want to Streisand each other. They all are friends. They are cross-promoting, and they are friends, and they have to say the same shit. If one of them says something different, blackmail, out of the industry.
Somebody writes a bad article, or they lie about something, or misrepresent something.
Oh yeah, they just get away with it, and all the other ones run with it too. The mistranslation that one of them made was literally quoted by every other gaming journalist. Every single one. It was so quick to suck the cock of the first guy that mistranslated it.
I think nobody wants to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
At least not on the professional side. I mean, they could call that professionalism.
Imagine community notes on YouTube videos. I make a video on Black Myth Wukong, and you get a little community note. By the way, Taku was lying because Black Myth Wukong is in fact sexist.
I could call it dishonest.
Make a response, just like you're demanding a response from Black Myth Wukong. I demand a response from all of you game journalists that ever made an article about Black Myth Wukong. I demand a response because you literally mistranslated and ran with the story. So I'm demanding a response. Is false information something that you stand by in your journalism or not? I demand a response. Now, they're obviously not going to give me one, just like how Black Myth Wukong will never give them a response.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to Black Myth Wukong. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Crazy. Yeah, and Black Myth Wukong is a threat. It is literally a threat to the entire fucking make-believe market that is game journalists. Those complete and utter losers. Holy shit. Demand a response? Yeah, obviously, I'm joking. No one deserves... People are going to take this out of context to think that I'm actually demanding a response, but I don't actually demand anything from anyone. I think everyone has the right to do whatever the fuck they want. No one needs to respond to anything, in my opinion. Except for this guy over here, Mr. Legendary Drops. I demand you tell me your favorite race of people.
Black...
Whoa, okay, damn. Man's literally gone woke. I'm gonna get some cancel for that joke. Anyway, stay weird, fam. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.